I'm here with my good friend Armani Williams, a NASCAR driver from Detroit, Michigan. Armani, I'd like to ask you, first of all, please share with us about how you got interested in race car driving.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Sandison, for having me here. It all started when at a very, very young age for me. Like as a kid, I first found a love for cars. Every now and then, I would have a collection of Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars, and just like to play them on the floor or the kitchen counter or the dinner table, whatever. And then one day I heard about NASCAR, and I'm like, oh wow, this NASCAR thing sounds pretty awesome and cool. I want to check this out. And they would always play them on television on Sundays over the weekend. So the very first time I watched it, I instantly got glued to it. It was just amazing how fast those cars were going, how cool the cars looked with the style and the paint scheme, and the winner would get a trophy. And
Yeah,
later on, the more and more I fell in love with it, the more I kind of thought, that I want to do what those guys are doing on TV. I want to be a professional race car driver. I told my dad straight up, and he saw that, it was my passion. It was something that I wanted to do in life. And so, really, at 8 years old, that's when my racing career got started. Got into go-kart racing to start off with, and that's where a lot of race car drivers, they usually get their start in the go-karts, and then move my way up to what was racing in mini cups, and if you think about watching NASCAR right now and the full stock car bodies, the ones I were racing, you could say they were like kind of a half-size version of it. They were a little bit bigger, a little more faster, and had some good success there. Won a couple races, and moved my way up to now racing a truck in the ARCA Truck Pro Series. Racing around the Midwest, yeah. And later on that year, I got invited to this program called the NASCAR Driver Diversity Program. By a team owner named Max Siegel, who owned Ref Racing. It was a really good program to get into. Like it gave people like me, who's an African American, female drivers or drivers that weren't even, are not even from the United States, or having a disability or whatever. It's just a chance to kind of help uplift their career and continue their journey of their racing career, moving up the ladder. And so I was fortunate to be invited a couple times. Unfortunately, I didn't get to race with their team, but NASCAR saw the potential in me, and it was that kind of exposure that I needed, because then they allowed me to move up to NASCAR. But I ended up racing in a different series. I ended up racing in a different country up in Canada, in the NASCAR Pinty Series, and having to compete against the best NASCAR Canadian drivers in the world. And it was such a cool learning experience. The fans up there in Canada were just nice, and it made me feel welcome, knowing that I was the only American in any type of race I competed in. It was really nice. But really just having to compete against the pros really just helped me teach of how exactly I need to race these guys.
Reach a new level.
New level, yeah. How to keep up with them, how to get by them. What certain moves do they make? That I can apply to my racing skills. And so it was such a great learning experience. Then I came back to the U.S. still racing in NASCAR in a series of what was now called the NASCAR K&N Pro Series. They had two divisions out in the East and the West, and I think I made like about 4 or 5 starts there in the combination of the West and the East, and moved my way up to now the ARCA Menard Series, where I've made a couple starts. Last year I was fortunate enough to team up with Century Autism, a sponsor, to run races like Phoenix last March. And then here in my hometown track in Michigan too, that was pretty special. And so, we're hoping to do more this year in 2021. And, ultimately, I want to get to NASCAR's top 3 levels. They have the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. That's like 3rd division. You got the NASCAR Xfinity Series. That's 2nd division. And then the very top is the NASCAR Cup Series. So, I want to be able to get into the top 3 levels first. first. And hey, if something comes up, where like I move all the way to the top of the sport, which to me I think it's the ultimate goal is
Yeah.
to get to the top of the sport, then hey, that's fantastic. Let's build a career out of it, and let's try to have some success. And so right now I'm still with the Armani series, but we're trying to work our way. I'm trying to work my way up to the NASCAR Camp World Truck Series, and hopefully we haven't really come up with what races I'm gonna compete in, but once we get something put together with sponsorship and everything else,
Yeah.
we hope to make an announcement soon about that.
And I share Armani's Williams story in my Views from the Spectrum. And this book is about all kinds of amazing individuals who are on the autism spectrum, whose parents use that gift, that talent, and they refined it into something beautiful. In Marty Williams' case, a NASCAR driver. In my case, it was a worn out prairie dog in desperate need of Rogaine that my parents used to create art, create me in the being able to use my gift in track and cross country. And then Prairie Pup made a friend in the honey badger who's a fierce advocate, force to be reckoned with. And Armani, what are some ways that your amazing parents, who I just met your mom, have been able to refine your gifts, been able to teach you social skills, and been able to get you connected and be able to share your gifts with the world so you could transform the world?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, with the fact with my parents being supportive, like they understood my strengths and weaknesses, like with racing, I guess like early on, like they knew like I was going through challenges of autism, and I felt like no matter what I wanted to try and do in life, my parents were going to support me 100%, and were going to do everything in their power to make sure that I could achieve the dream that I wanted to have, and being a young kid, in being diagnosed at 2 years old, and then through childhood, I was always, that shy guy. If you think of playing like Mario games, and
Yeah.
it's that little shy guy with that little ghost face, that's
Yeah.
kind of how I was. I didn't really like talk a lot. I didn't really do anything like whether it was activity wise or socially, and so that's something that I struggled with early on. I think with my parents, they recognized that, and so I had to go through some therapies of speech, occupational, physical therapy, just all the necessary things to kind of enhance myself as a person. But I also understood that as much as they were trying to help me out, I needed to take the initiative to kind of overcome the challenges that I had to overcome. Like one of which, by the time I got up to high school, there was this one class that I took. It was a speech class. It was just a basic. You learn how to, talk in front of not just one person but a bunch of people. And I knew, in my racing career and the things you do off the track, I'm gonna make public appearances. This is something I have to get used to. So for me, I took that initiative to kind of work on speaking in front of an audience, and I think, even like coming up to this day, it's really helped me a lot, and like, I'm able to kind of, get my speech a lot more clear, I can put words together in my mouth to where like earlier on, I may repeat something that my mom said or,
Yeah.
my dad said, like I never really knew what to say, but now I'm able to kind of open myself up, and just show my personality, show, who I really am.
Yeah, it's amazing what you're accomplishing and the great things. One of my goals is accomplished right now in the autism community. Less than 5% of us are gainfully employed, as I am, and have opportunities to do amazing things like race car driving. My goal is to get in to be a congressman and change the laws so that more people with disabilities are able to work, and that we keep our benefits once we get employed, because a lot of people with autism with insurance and health care are under covered, and that's one of my goals, to make it easier for people with disabilities to be employed. And what is your future goal? We'll end with that question.
Well, really, like all I ever thought about was being a professional race car driver. But like the more I kind of think about it, the more I thought there's other things I can do. Like I want to maybe continue to be the face of autism. Just basically be like some sort of philanthropist, be like a motivational speaker. Just talk to the community. Just kind of give them that hope. Give them a helping hand. Like to help encourage them and believe in themselves. Because like a lot of us with autism, there's always a level of uncertainty. We don't know where our life is going to take us, when we have autism, and I think for me, I always try to understand that, hey, no matter what you have, I mean, like God made us different, special, and, you could say unique for a reason, and everyone in the world is different in their own unique way, I mean, not everybody's the same. But that doesn't mean that you can't achieve or succeed at something that you want to do in life, I mean, if you have a dream of something that you want to do in life, go for it. Whether, you want to be like a pilot, fly around the world, you want to be a firefighter to save people, you want to be a doctor, or all the different things that you could think of, if that's something that you're passionate about and something that you love to do, and that is something that you dream about doing in life, go for it. And that's always the message I try to bring out to individuals. Individuals, families that have been impacted by autism. Just give them something to think about. Just to let them know to never give up. Like it's never the end of the world, and life always goes on. And we can't just let the difficulties of autism kind of stand in our way. We're always having to face adversity and challenges in life. Nobody's perfect, and it's up to us to figure out how to overcome it, and especially for people like us with autism, we got to face that adversity of the challenges that, autism brings to us and figure out how to overcome those barriers.
And I want to just encourage all the parents out here watching who have a child with autism, take those passions, whether it's a honey badger, prairie dog, or being a NASCAR driver. Take those passions, run with them, and see the gifts that God's going to open up. And I'd like to end with this quote by Charles Spurgeon: by perseverance the snail made it on the ark. So even if the development seems slow, delayed, if you keep going in the right direction, you keep working with your child's passions, his desires on the spectrum, you're going to reach your goals. Thanks so much, and thanks Armani for letting me interview you and being part of Views on the Spectrum that are going to help many families and children with autism.